Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 206, and we are here with my friend Mike Salter. Beyond the transaction, reimagining the customer experience in an online world. Let me pay the bills really quick, and then we'll have Mike on the show. And this is live, so you can ask questions. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 tips for furniture and mattress stores to sell another $1 million or more this year. It's on Amazon right now. And I think it's at some stupid price, like $14.99, something like that. Anyone that invests in my book, if you have any questions on how to implement anything, call me, 419-560-3169. Again, 419-560-3169. Call me. I'm happy to walk you through anything and help you implement any idea in that book that's helpful to your business. And I'd like to say thank you to the folks at Luxury Leap. This is going to be unbelievable. If you want to elevate your mattress sales in Vegas, it's live. It starts at 9:30 in the morning. It goes to 4:30 in the afternoon, and it's in space C1212. So 12th floor, C1212, easy for you to get to. Couple of things about this. Number one, it's free. My friends, Brent Batterman, Justin Trumbo, Jeff Giannakovo, Scott Vaughn, to name a few, are going to be there. I'll be speaking as well. It's 100% free. Plus, there's free goodies for just showing up. You don't have to be there all day. Come in for a session, leave, hit your appointments, come back for another session later. Be there or be square. Luxury Leap, elevate your mattress sales, January 25th. That's Saturday in Vegas in space C1212, 9:30 to 4:30 p.m. And here's a new sponsor. My book, Miles and Miles of Retail Selling Greatness. It's almost ready to go. How to sell more mattresses this year. This book has been a labor of love. Basically, what I did is I went through and I found every article that I'd written on sales, went through it, picked the very best. And then I asked myself the question I never should have asked, but it was an important question for you. And that is, what's changed since I wrote some of these articles? And we brought in some very, very special guest authors who wrote a chapter or two. Brent Batterman, Justin Trumbo, Jeff Giannakovo, Randy Thompson, my friend Scott Vaughn, all wrote chapters in this book, and I'm missing somebody, and my apologies. Oh, Chris Haney. Krista Haney wrote two chapters in this book. So if you want to elevate your sales game in 2025, or you're a sales executive at retail and you have to do a Saturday morning meeting, and you're running out of topics, all you got to do is pick a chapter or half of a chapter, and you'll have more than 2 years worth of sales meetings. How's that for you? So if you're a sales manager or a store manager or a sales executive and you want topics for meetings, this will be great. Get your sales off to a great start in 2025. And we will have the link to that in just a couple of weeks. The actual book launch will be on February 10th, but I have some copies that I'm picking up in the next 2 or 3 days. So let me say thank you to all my friends at the Mattress Industry Network Group. Most of all, Steve and Greg, thank you for sponsoring the show. Appreciate you guys more than you know. If you're in the mattress industry and you feel like you're going it alone, you don't have to join this group. It's a free group. It's in Facebook. I think we're over 2,300 strong, maybe even more than that. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry, this is the place to be. Hit that QR code, and I try to get in there a couple times a week. It's a great group. Everybody's in there. So from RSAs who work the retail floor, to store owners, to owners of manufacturing companies, to reps, to VPs of sales. Everybody's in there. It's a great place to network, but more importantly, it's a great place to learn. So join the Mattress Industry Network group and tell them Pete sent you. And do we have anyone else, Chris? Or are we good? I think we're good right now.
We're good.
We are good. Thank you, Chris. I just have to say, congratulations, Chris. Your Lions, they were amazing last night. Amazing. Considering all the injuries, I cannot believe how well they executed. And we're going to talk about that today with Mike. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you?
So anybody that doesn't know Mike Salter, you should make it a point to meet Mike. He owns Salter Home, and he's an independent rep, just like I am, with a little bit of a difference. He's coming out with some programming that's going to be very interesting to you guys. So he will be offering retailer advantage very soon, if not already. And that will help you have promotions for the entire year. The other thing I wanted to mention, Mike is just writing is this your first book that you're publishing now?
It is.
So it is a great book, and it is the title of the show, Beyond the Transaction, Reimagining the Customer Experience in an Online World. And before some of you guys go off on a tangent going, it's not an online world. Brick and mortar still does more than online. Yeah, I know. But it's increasingly an online world, and we all need to evolve. All of us as store owners need to evolve. All of us as sales reps need to evolve. All the manufacturers need to evolve and get with it. So, Mike, thank you for just being an absolute bundle of joy and creativity and energy. I was just talking to Chris Tahaney last week. He goes, there's the one guy that if I was ever in a bad mood or down and out, I would try to find Mike, because I know he would brighten my day within seconds. And I said, that is a true statement, my friend. That is a true statement. Are you adequately caffeinated right now?
My dad juice right here. I don't know where the mug. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, but it says on the mug. So absolutely. No, it's great to be here. And I don't know, as far as being positive, what's the alternative? I mean, life is tough. It's been a hard 2024 was a rough year for a lot of people, and personally, professionally, and a lot of people I know, and we just got to keep going. Just got to keep our heads up, got to keep looking forward and figuring out ways to make it happen. I think that's the bottom line, right? Is we just have to stay positive and keep moving forward. So yeah, like kind of throwing some things at the wall, and this book is really about 22 of the last 25 years. I was just really recently doing the math. It's like, wow, I've been in the mattress business. And, there's just a lot of, like you said, a lot of things have changed over the years. And really, what are things that we can lean on that we were successful at, that we saw, that we liked, that we didn't like, and how can we move forward as well. So I've been putting together this book that and love to go over some of it, some of the key points, but we have to be intentional, right? As a rep, I think we have to do things to be intentional, help our retailers to be successful. And I think as retailers, we have to be intentional on how are we going to create a customer experience better than, the guy down the street or online or whatever. And that's what it comes down to, is creating an experience unlike, pricing is what your online guys pretty much stand on. But they can't provide the experience, right? They can't provide the same experience. And that's what this book does, is talks about, how can we, create an experience like no other, memorable and Instagrammable moments, reimagining that customer experience, as they come in the door, what gets them in the door. So that's kind of the premise of the book.
That's awesome. So from when you started to when you finished, how long?
As far as the whole book goes,
Yeah.
or I'd like to say, like, years. Really, I mean, as really, this last year has really helped me realize that, there's seeing retailers, seeing friends. I spent, if you remember, Sleep Country USA here in the Great Northwest. I spent 9 years on the retail floor there and in management, and looking at all the success from those days before the buyout and before the next buyout, and then things started to change. But it's like, okay, how can we lean on, and so really, I would say it's a collective over the last, uh, few months, but really, it's years and years and years worth of experience, kind of rolled into, okay, what can we do to, I think 2025 is going to be a great year. I think, we're past an election, we're moving forward. Let's figure out ways to bring people in the store and be successful and grow our businesses, whether it's on the retail side, rep side. We're all in this together. And so, one of the things that, I was just, kind of preparing for our time today, is one of the, like, pivotal moments in my career was at Sleep Country, when we went to a retreat. And this, back in the day, this company did it right. I mean, they really took good care of us. And we went to a retreat, and we left. We showed up. Bring your name badges. Okay. We showed up as store managers, and by the end of the weekend, we left as store leaders. So now my name badge said store leader instead of store manager. And that had a pretty impactful, it was pretty impactful on my career and my time. And it kind of propelled from there. But that was one of those things. Are we going to be managers, or are we going to be leaders in all that we do? So that was one of those moments that really defined, kind of one of those aha moments, if you would.
That's awesome. How long was the retreat, Mike?
It was this weekend. They did that every, I think it was a couple times, or maybe once a year, had a, that leadership retreat. They were a company that they did investing, and there's probably guys and gals listening that, they've opened up their own retail stores that were also with Sleep Country. A lot of my good friends in the industry, stores that I call on, being that I'm in the same geographical area, they were also part of this. And it was they did a good job of investing in you and giving you tools that maybe didn't even have anything to do with mattress sales. And some people grew out of the mattress business, right? They took those tools and grew. So really creating a team, creating an experience for our customers, for our, whether it's my customer or my retailer's customer. I mean, we're really all in this together. And that's, so years of experience, right, has led us to, like, think about the first chapter of the book. Now, the Steve comments, I have blended family, 8 kids, 3 grandkids. No, I didn't start when I was 11. But so a lot of kids, a lot of, and when my girls were older, or my old sorry, when my girls were younger, they're a lot older now. Toys R Us. So reimagining that, Toys R Us, I think they, ultimately didn't. I mean, they filed bankruptcy, 2017, I believe. They did not adapt. They were not innovative, right? So I think they really, you can't compete in an online world if you're not driving customers into your store. So, my whole thought on that years ago was, man, what if you had this giant play area in the middle, right? And little Mikey, my kids are 26 all the way down to 3. So my little 3.5-year-old, he's into, going in and playing his monster trucks, right? And mom and dad have there's, the Toys R Us coffee shop or whatever right there. It's overpriced, it's burnt coffee, but it's okay. We're sitting down chatting, little guy's playing. And then before we know it, he wants to leave, or we want to leave, but he wants to take that toy. And it's on aisle 3, by the way. So now we've just created this experience of not just rows and rows and aisles of toys. We've created this experience of, for the family, something that's memorable, something to take you back. You could have live, people doing live events and demonstrations. And another thing is, one of my girls was in high school, did fashion design. And, I thought these dying retail stores, like these big box department stores, and you have a runway, right? You right down the middle, and you're bringing in the high school and letting them use, and you're getting the community involved, right? And now all of a sudden they're there, and hey, that's a cute shirt, or hey, that would look great in the house, or whatever. So what are we doing? And I know, as I visit some retailers, specifically in my industry, right, mattress and furniture, there's some that do it really well. And what can we do to engage into our community and bring them into our stores? And I don't know, there could be some examples. You've been around. My little world's been in the Northwest for my entire career, but I would love to hear and know of examples that are, if anybody that's doing some of those things, how can we get people, engaged into the community? Sleep Country did toy drives, and foster kid coat drives, and those kinds of things, right? So how can, and yeah, you wanted that customer to come in and buy something, but you know what? There was a seed planted, like, hey, this company cares. This company's making a difference. And you know what? Next time I buy a mattress, I'm going to come in and see you.
Yep, 100%. Well, you've got a few things going on here. I want to unpack just a little bit. So what you're really talking about, Mike, is us as a store owner. If we can't close that customer in the store, we want to at least be the topic of conversation at the dinner table.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Like, hey, we got these toys out. We were playing with them, blah, blah, blah. This was not, I remember talking to my business partner one day, and he was like depressed. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, all these stores look alike. And I said, that's a problem. And, this was many years ago. And a lot of us have a vision in our head of what a typical mattress store looks like. Looks like some soldiers, rectangles, and just lined up with no sense of purpose, no direction. And it's very confusing to a customer who hasn't been, in the market for 12 to 15 years. We like to say 8 to 10 years, but the reality is I still think they're not in the market. Other than the ones that got burned by $199 Queen Amazon piece of what, and
Right.
now they're back in the market in a shorter time frame. But most customers stay out of there a pretty long time. And then Justin Trumbo just popped into my head because he has a guy who opened a new store, and his name escapes me. He's a lovely guy. He's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Anybody who knows Derek Platt, he volunteers to do pancake breakfasts for the firehouses locally. And it's just part of being part of the community. We have a great guy, Jim Hicks from Mattress Mart in Zanesville, Ohio. He's been involved in all kinds of charities and you name it, the local FOPA, the police unions, and they do an awful lot of charity work for disadvantaged kids, children with health problems, a wide variety of charities all involved with that. And I said to Jim one time, Jim, why don't you ever post this stuff on Facebook? He goes, I'm not doing it for that. And I said, well, I want you to think about this. Think about this, Jim. What if Sally down the street that owns a bakery, who's been here for the last 25 to 30 years, she's doing okay. She was thinking about doing something for charity, but she didn't see anybody else doing anything for charity. So she just it just didn't get all the way over. But what if she saw you posted on Facebook and said, oh, that's really great. I think I'm going to do something for charity. And you actually inspired a fellow retailer to go deeper into her community. He goes, I never thought of it that way. So, I think that there's a couple of different things that come into play, right? We're raised to do good things and to not bask in the limelight, right? But sometimes you have to shine a light just so that people see the light, so they can follow the light, so that they can do good things too for the community. So I'm all for anything that's creative for the community and publicizing the heck out of it, not because you want to sell more mattresses, and rest assured you do, but because you want to be a good example for how does somebody who's been blessed by a community respond with thankfulness? How do they behave? That's really what I'm kind of getting to. Like, forget about let's do more business. How about let's just be good people? And if we just did that and we didn't worry about what other people thought, we'd do a lot more business. So I'm really glad you brought up community, because whenever you see, almost inevitably, but it's not always true, but most of the time it's true. When you see stores going out of business, a lot of times it's because they did not plant roots deeply into that community. The ones that don't go anywhere. They weather all the storms. So sorry, I hijacked the show.
No, and I think that how are we connecting the dots in the community as far as mattress stores, and and I know for some have tried over the years of like trying to go into assisted living or nursing homes and trying to sell adjustable bases. To your point, are you trying to make a sale, or are you trying to make a connection? Are you really wanting to be a part of your community, or are you just trying to sell something? And I think that's the difference there, right?
Yeah. And even bigger as reps, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna move around different companies. Look at what just happened with your situation. You're with Sutherland. I'm going to be there the rest of my life. They get bought by 3Zs. It's probably a great thing, I think. I think it's especially a good thing for 1099 independent reps like you are. But
I tend to agree.
We make plans. And then those plans change. And the thing that keeps us in business is our connections. And you said it extremely well. It's true in retail, and it's even as true, if not more true, as reps. You're gonna change companies, and will your customers come with you? Are they buying your product, or are they buying you? And it's up to you to make sure that they're ultimately buying you. Maybe not at the beginning, but once they get to know you and get to know the fact that you're watching out for them, you're doing good things for them, you're bringing them ideas, you're helping them, and you become their friends, God willing, in the cases where they allow it. That connection is the most important thing. And, the first chapter of my book is called I Never Wanted to Be a Salesman. That's the very first chapter of my book. I never wanted to be a salesman. I never wanted to be a salesman because what I had seen of salespeople in my young life is they were out for themselves. I thought that a really good one could magically hypnotize somebody and make them buy something that they
Right.
didn't want to buy. And then, so this was the idea that I had in my head. And what I found out, it's the opposite, Mike. The best salespeople are the best human beings, the very best of the best, the ones that could get as close to that mythical hypnotizing somebody are really the best human beings. And they would never, ever do that in a million years.
And I think part of it is, I think less, I've always liked less transactional equals greater opportunity. Right. And I mean, I think if we just doing, and there's a quote, and I love the quote. It's a long quote, and I'll just butcher it. But it's essentially, there's a quote of, hey, is he working or is he playing? Is he hanging out with his family? Is he hanging out with he's the same person all the time, right? And I think that is, an ultimate goal. I know I fail on that one at times, but I think that's the ultimate goal, right? And I think that's what this is about. Is you can buy a mattress at 1,000 places in your town, right? I mean, Northwest has, I mean, is it is it a money laundering? No, but there's a lot of mattress stores, right? And so we have to create that experience. We have to be genuine in that, right? If you are involved in the community, you got to be interested in or what interests you. What are your passions? My goodness, they have to be beyond mattresses. I would hope so. So, how can you connect with the, people in your community? It makes me think too, you mentioned coffee earlier, because I am a big, big coffee junkie, and I don't know how you could be in the Northwest and not be a coffee junkie, right? And so, I mean, I just morning, afternoon, thinking about the evening coffee. I had a customer, they since retired and living their best life, and I hope he's tuned in, but they had a small shop, and it's kind of a hybrid, mattress store and some furniture and some antiques. But they had created it was like the town hub, right? It was, I mean, as far as you got coffee, you got goodies, and it was, people were coming in just to say hi, just to hang out, just to see the guy down the street. That's the Starbucks magic, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, it became the third, between home and work, right? It became the third place all of a sudden. And I think, why can't our retail shops be, and there's a certain level, oh man, I got paperwork to do, and I got things to, but at some point, if we're inviting, guests, are they customers or are they guests, right? And can we bring them in, and do you have Wi-Fi? Do you have a customer Wi-Fi network that they can just, what, I got to spend some time here, I got to, I want to take care of something, great, do it here. I don't know, I mean, I work the retail side, so I can also, you know understand the part of that. But at the same, like, what are we doing to be the place where people want to go to
Yep.
and want to hang and
Yep.
want to, hey, I can go to Starbucks, or I go down and, talk to Pete and drink coffee with Pete. And,
100%.
something new to catch their eye. And what, maybe it's not a mattress, but man, I have been needing a new pillow, right? And I don't know any customer right now that is like, oh man, I have way too many customers coming through the door right now. Please slow them down.
What do you think about charging stations?
There you
I think
go.
every
I mean,
retailer should have a
what-
charging station. My phone's always on the blink, man.
there you go. Yeah. See, well, yeah, I understand that. My kids especially, I don't know what it is with that, but yeah. And then, and then I mean, gosh, there's just so many, I just kept on, ideas and ideas. And I mean, one thing I don't understand, and I think it's a snooze mattress that I see a lot of pictures with. I don't know these guys too well, but as far as being in pajamas, why isn't that a thing in our industry? As far as, like, at least Friday is pajama day or something. And I, personally, like, having fun with customers as far as, hey, come in, we got a photo booth. We have a, you know, Hi, thanks, Tim. Love you, buddy.
I knew that was going to happen. Tim McDonald says, Mikey, the man who never ages. Yes, the Dick Clark of the mattress industry. And Randy Thompson says, Pete, you have kept your relationship with me for 35 years. That says a lot about your commitment to this industry.
Well,
That says a lot about your patience, Randy. Tim Clanky says, you just described me, Pete. You are spot on, buddy. And Christina Espinoza says, yes, best people I know. And you're with one of my favorite people right now, Chris Tahaney. So I am a little bit jealous, Christina. So you give Chris a great big hug for me.
Those are great people all through. This industry.
You know, that's the one thing about this industry that is always amazed me. What big hearts. You know, what big hearts. I loved Rob Mitzel in the Mattress Industry Network group over the weekend. Kind of posted a little bit of an update and a shout out to Stephanie Janakovo, Jeff's wife. Has been in the hospital for, I think, almost 40 days. And, you know, Rob never says boo. And for him to make a video and put it out there, I'm like, my hat is off to you, brother. My hat is off to you. And that's what makes this thing special. So years and years ago, we had a sales meeting. It was like a 2 or 3 day sales meeting for CERTA. And they paid a magician after every session. Magician would come on and he would do a magical trick and there would be a lesson. And he would always say the same thing, Mike. And he said, remember, you make the magic. So when I left after 2 or 3 days of this, I'm like, remember, you make the magic. And, you know, they were really talking about us reps. But the way I took it, I said, my store owner makes the magic. But how do I help my store owner make the magic? And I thought, that was really, really creative. I've never seen another manufacturer do that. So my hat is off. I'm sure it was Barbara's idea, but Bob, you were the president of the company at the time. So I guess you get credit, even though I know Barbara was behind that for sure. So Mike, what is the most contrarian thing in your book? Like, something that's a little bit out of the way. And you're like, I don't know if I should put this in there. It'll be good for some, but not all. And a lot of people will think I'm crazy.
That's a great question. I try to be not be too crazy on it. Gosh, I think, maybe, I guess part of that would be we're talking about bringing customers in, but we have to also address the online piece, right? I mean, I don't know, like, well, so you have your whole book on, get people in and do it, but you still have to, you can't live like with your head in the sand. That you need to make sure that your website is solid. You need to make sure that what are you doing to engage, people. So I don't know if that's, controversial or anything, but that, the book is all about getting people in store, but we gotta realize people do a lot of shopping online before they make that choice to come in, right? They've already checked out your website. They figured out if they're going to come into your store or not, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that would be making sure that we're, maybe just with the idea of just simply, push yourself beyond, oh, well, that's just a crazy idea. Really? I don't know. There's years ago, I don't know gosh, this goes back 20, 25 years. I'm that old, right? That there's a company that was called IDEO. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but there's a video, and some of you guys may have seen this, and they were going to build the perfect shopping cart, right? And so they had the deep dive process, right? And so they took the sticky notes from this idea and that idea. Well, that by itself, that was a crazy idea. But then you put it up on the wall, like they had just put everything up there, and then you start pairing ideas together, and before you know it, they had built this perfect shopping cart, right? And the owner of the company at the time was talking about how, the guy that invented the dental floss was great, but the guy that invented the box to put it in, man, he was what an even better idea, right? So I think don't limit yourself, there you go. Love it. So what can don't limit yourself to, "Oh, that'll never work." Try it, maybe it fails, try it again. You might say, "Hey, I'm going to have a community event where we're going to have we're going to have people show up, chiropractors, we're going to do this sleep wellness event," and nobody shows up. And you know what, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And I think that might be, you know I think we have to, especially if most of us see some of the retail struggles. We see the news articles almost every day, if not weekly, as retail struggles. I think we're at a time where we need to just put ourselves out there as reps, as retailers, and bring new ideas and try new things. And it's going to be uncomfortable. I've never done a podcast before, so there we go. Like, oof. So I think, long story short, I mean, I think just do it, just try it, just do it. And the first, you might be the only one with, there's the Weird Al song, if you've ever listened to that. He ordered a lot of pizzas for a big party and no one showed up, and he was the only one eating pizzas. But anyway, just keep showing up and keep doing it, and it's going to make a difference.
That's great advice. Listen, I think your subtitle is controversial. I really do. Why do I have to reimagine my customer experience? I don't want to. I'm making a living. I'm doing okay. Why do I need to change? You're telling me I need to change. I don't want to change. Well, what I love about your cover, and I forgot to mention this to you, I love the colors. I love the idea of movement with the colors. Something's happening. And, why not be the experience store in your neck of the woods, in your community, the place where you're the topic of conversation at the dinner table? Well, honey, how'd the mattress shopping go today? Well, let me tell you, this one place, it was unbelievable. It was different than all the other places. And here's how it was different.
There you go.
So
think about have you ever been to Pike's Place Market in Seattle, Pete?
No, but Brent Batterman writes about it in my book.
There you go. It's in my book too.
It's a small world, brother.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just fish. It's just the guy down the way. I mean, you go and you almost feel bad for the guy down the way. Like, there's like 4 people there and they're selling the same product, right? But these guys are, hey, I mean, just having a good time with it. And I think that, it's, especially when I'm working with independent retailers, I get it. I mean, you're not only paying the bills and cleaning the toilet and trying to, run your advertising and then realize somebody just siphoned gas out of the delivery truck. I mean, you got all these things, but you know what? You just got to keep, reimagining and how you can be different than the guy down the street. I love that dinner table, right? I mean, that is 100% right. Like, mattress shopping became the topic of dinner. How did you get there? Right.
That's where we need to get.
Right.
And
That
you touched on something, Mike, really quick, and you live it so well that I don't even think you realize how important it is. I always have a saying. I say it all the time. I say it intentionally. Have fun and sell $1 million. I don't say sell $1 million and have fun. You're not going to sell $1 million if you don't have fun first.
Right.
And people want to be around people who are fun, who have good energy. And what you said about Brent Batterman wrote 2 chapters in my book. And they were both fabulous. I mean, Brent is just rarefied air. He's just super, super talented guy and so many great insights on sales. But for him to unsolicited bring up this restaurant, and then you unsolicited bring up this same restaurant to me, it's it's a really interesting thing that it made that big of an impact on both of you.
Yeah.
And so how do we as reps, and how do we as store owners, and how do we as sales pros that work the retail floor, how do we brighten the day of those who we come into contact with? How do we make their day better? And how do we add to their day so that when they walk away from us, they didn't walk away with just what they thought they were going to walk away with. They walked away with something else, a bonus, if you will, in addition to that they didn't expect. So this idea of doing the unexpected, Alex, I love you, dude. You keep doing what you're doing. People dig the salmon toss. Salmon toss. What is that?
That's the Pike Place experience, my man. That is, they're throwing fish, but it's just a fish, right? But yeah, people, it's a great experience.
That's awesome. I love
You got to
it.
go to Seattle, Pete. You got to do it. Go, spring to fall. Go right now, and no, it's beautiful. But kids, the first color they learn is gray here in the Northwest. So just come during the spring or summer. But you have to check it out.
Awesome. I will do that. So you're writing this book, and you inevitably get to this place where you have the words in your head, but you've written so many words that you can't even remember how to spell this simple word like how or who. And you're writing and how did you press on? Like, what was it in your mind that made you push on? Because only people who write books know what I'm talking about.
Well, and I've never done this. I mean, anybody knows me, I have a million ideas all the time, and some of them are good. But anyway, and I think the thing, I've seen, this last year was, in my own little territory, and you're, small to mid-sized retailers. It was a struggle for a lot of them, and I think that's the, it's not going to hurt anything. It's right. Like if this will help sell one more mattress or help one more store stay afloat a little bit longer or for good or what, I mean, like that is the goal. That I think there's just some stuff that, this, I mean, 35 years or however many years you've been you've done this a long time, and there's things that you can look back and say, even though things have changed, there's some core principles that don't, and there's some things that we forget along the way. It's like the steps of the sales, if we're on the sales floor, right? We're so good, we've been doing it so long, and we start missing those. And then if we really are honest, we go back and start looking and analyze our sale, like, man, you know what, I am not doing this part, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not asking, for the sale, like whatever it is. And so I think, just I want to see people be, successful. We're in it together. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about, an independent rep, right? I mean, I work for great manufacturers and work with great retailers and bring it together, and that's how it all works for everybody. And so I want to see 2025 just be just, a comeback year that is just beyond, anything we've seen in a long time. And I think we have the ability to do that. Then there's things like pastor at our church always says, you can only control the knobs on your side of the wall, which is true. And so there's only things you can, there's certain factors you can't, you have limited control over. But what can you do in your own store, in your own mind, with your own staff, with your own people, to make again, less transactional, greater opportunity? What can we do? Let's have fun. Let's make this an experience for everyone.
So I got to tell you a funny story where I really took a chance. I really went outside the box. So if you talk to women, they will tell you that a store's restroom tells them a lot about the restroom. Now, unfortunately, too many of our stores are run by men who don't care about their restroom. And so I walked into the store one day and it was so bad that I couldn't go, and I had to go, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
so bad. And I said, "Where's your cleaning supplies, Frank?" Frank was the owner. He goes, "Well, there's some stuff here and some stuff here." He didn't have the right stuff. I ran to the store. I got the cleaning supplies. He goes, "Are you leaving?" I go, "Yes, but I'll be right back." And I start cleaning. And he comes over after a while. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Frank, I'm cleaning your bathroom because this thing is disgusting. And if I, a Neanderthal who drags my knuckles on the ground, can't go to the restroom, what does a woman who is going to buy a mattress from you, Frank? That's your customer, in case you didn't know." And, I'm being a little bit of a you know what, and he goes, "Oh, okay, thanks." And so I finally finished. It took me like 2 hours, and
That's dedication right there,
and
Pete.
and I had it clean. And I looked at him and I said, "Frank, I love you, brother, but if I ever come back and this restroom doesn't look like this, I'm going to beat the crap out of you." And he looked at me. He goes, "Thanks, Pete." And I'm like, "No, I'm doing my evaluation, of my call." I like, "Yeah, that little bit at the end where I'm going to beat the crap out of them, that was like a bit over the edge." He never, ever, ever, ever was that bathroom ever again in bad shape. It was in great shape. And I said, "Frank," like after like 10 more visits, I said, "Frank, I got to tell you, congratulations on keeping this. Like, how are you doing it?"
It
He goes,
doesn't look
"Oh,
like
I
a
pay
horror movie
somebody to come
escape
in and
room.
do it. I pay somebody to come in and do it
There,
once a week."
and that brings up a point. I remembered a period of time, the Sleep Country. We would have a store manager meeting, just a short period of time, but we would meet at different stores. And it's funny. I think that's new eyes on on the bathroom, or you walk into the same retail store, your same store every day, you know, every week. And you don't notice there is a giant cobweb in the corner, and or whatever it is. Yeah, you just you get in your mindset. And I think, again, that's kind of the power of creating and getting connected to the community, because in that regard, people don't even know you exist potentially until they have a need, right? And you don't see there's problems in your store until maybe somebody points it out. So I think it's important to get some fresh eyes and hire Pete to clean your bathrooms. I think that's a really good idea.
I did not volunteer for this.
But I think that it's true. I mean, I can tell you, I would never blast anyone, but I definitely, you go to some stores versus others, and it's just like, yeah, maybe I'll just go wait, go to the next stop, um, as a road rep, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And here's something for reps. Now, unless you really have known someone for years, you can't get away with what I did and live to tell about it. Um, Nor should you. I would not recommend that as protocol for any rep. Uh, but I will tell you this: you do have a responsibility to be eyes and ears for your retailer and to help him or her, at least the ones that want help. I'll never forget this, and I'll use the name because I know it's okay. Jim Hicks at Mattress Mart in Zanesville. Again, Jim, you've been here twice in one show. Um, I asked him how he shopped stores and what he noticed and like what his protocol was. And nothing was extremely remarkable. He let the person go through the whole sales pitch. He paid attention to how the store looked. He paid attention to uh, how he was approached. He set up objections. He wanted to see how they answered objections. But the one thing that was fascinating about what Jim said is he pretended that he was his customer, and that's her. And that's looking up at the ceiling and looking at the stained tiles.
Mm.
And he always thought, if there's no stained tiles up there and no lights that are out, This is a sharp retailer. If there's stained tiles and there's lights that need to be replaced and they're not replaced, and there's cobwebs in the corner, like you mentioned, this is not a place Mrs. Jones is going to be happy.
Or the
shopping at.
spotlight right on your face. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's
a lot of fun.
that's a really good one too. I always do that at market. I jump in and I go, "You guys got to move these spotlights. Come on!" Like, we're supposed to be able to help retailers, and Retailing 101 says, lay down on the bed, and what do you experience? And if you experience glare from an overhead light, that is not a good thing. So I've been seen with my shoes off, changing the direction of canister lights. Joe Clay says, if I'm not learning it for the first time, I'm hearing the most valuable principles reiterated over and over again on the Pete Primeau show. Oh, thank you, Joe. Salter is bringing the genius that belies his years of experience. His face lies about. Yes.
That is funny.
The Dick Clark of the mattress industry. That's going to stick. Hey, Serenity. This is Marnie, one of my favorite people. Ladies, talk. Those bathrooms matter. They do. And Marnie's heard this, what I just said, probably 100 times. I love telling that story. It's a true story. So
But
Mike,
it's those little things, right? It's those little things that start to add up to make it, a big difference, a momentum shift in all that we're doing. It's not always the big, I mean, everybody wants the $10,000, dual, TXL adjustable sale. But I mean, you start look back at those days and you realize, man, I kicked and scraped my way to a successful day. And I think that's what we need to do, even in our business and our retail stores. Look at those little things. Look at, lay on the mattress. Am I getting, hit by a spotlight? There's their ceiling, is the bathroom. And I think, as a new year, what a cool time to be on this. Thank you, Pete. Is like, we have this, we can do this any time of the year, right? But we can really take and look personally and professionally. Okay, what can we do to just really, not only reimagine our stores, but reimagine, how we're doing things personally. That's always, I can reflect and see where I'm, doing all right, and other areas that I need to work on, right? And so I think it's just a good time to kind of do this checklist. And my book has kind of a worksheet at the end of each chapter to kind of ask the questions. I mean, what is your lighting like in your store, and those kinds of things. So I think we need to, even though you're not in a toy store, you don't have a toy store, is there something, the power of play, right? Is there something you can glean from that chapter even though we're not talking toy stores, we're not talking runways and department stores, but how can we create that experience that's, different than the guy down the street?
Yep. Little play areas.
Yeah.
The first time I saw a play area, it was at John V. Schultz in Erie, Pennsylvania, 120,000 foot showroom. But you don't have to have a 40 by 60 foot play area like JV Schultz had at the time, which, by the way, I loved when I did catered lunches for them, because they had 50 salespeople on the floor in their heyday, which was just amazing. And I was privileged enough to sell them lots and lots of mattresses. And, that's an idea that could be a 4 by 6 foot little play area in a small 2,000 foot showroom. Anything that helps Mrs. Jones relax and be able to focus. And if you have more than one person can tend to her, and the other person can be a pseudo babysitter while the baby is in the play area or the young child's in a play area. That can go a long way to helping you go further with your customer than you could ever go any other way, and might help you get the sale right there on the spot. But if not, at least be the topic of conversation at the dinner table, right?
100%.
I love this idea of this worksheet. I think the biggest problem with books is there's usually so many ideas in a book that we kind of lose track of them. So I actually give instructions at the beginning of my second book on how to read this book. And if I could get people to do this, and I can't do it myself, so I don't even know why I recommend it. I've done it twice and it worked magically. That is to discipline yourself to read it as fast as you can without a pen in your hand. Just read it. Then go back through with the pen or the highlighter in your hand, and then prioritize those highlight, number them and find out what's your number one. And if you can at least pull 5 things out of a book
There you
that
go.
you can do, it could just be one that makes the difference. And all those little tiny things, they all add up the way Mike said. So excited. When do you think your book's going to be ready, brother?
I don't know. Like I was telling you, like I just keep, making some tweaks and stuff to it. But I'm hoping right before, or right after market is my goal here. It's going to be
Yeah.
pretty close.
Mine was right before market, but it's not going to happen. Just
Yeah, right.
the book launch team ran into some unforeseen circumstances, and it'll all be good. I'll have a few books with me at market, and February 10th, right here on the Pete Primeau show, we'll launch it. Let me know so
Awesome.
I can help you launch it. I love this idea of the worksheet. Let's talk about, just for a minute or two, or as long as you want to, retailer advantage.
Sure. So the idea behind that, Buddy and I actually, been working on that is so retailer advantage. I can't tell you, and the guys that have the marketing department and the team that does all this, that's awesome. So many of my retailers don't have that. And so the idea is, again, the guy that's cleaning the bathroom, or hopefully, and running the books and, receiving the truck and delivering. And, we created, we have 15 different promotion packs. At this point, it's digital, but from year-end clearance, mix and match, Christmas in July, different things. Promotion rotation is what I call it. And the idea behind that is it's amazing how many stores that, they've had this 7-year-old mattress sale sign that's tattered on the side of the building. At some point, probably 6.5 years ago, that lost emergency, lost some excitement. So, designing, and we have some different promotional packs. We've redone this a little bit, but, so you have posters, tent cards, referral cards. We've added some price cards. So the idea is you could plan out your promotions for the entire year if you wanted. And so we're getting close on this. And if again, going back to my retail days at Sleep Country USA, and they were at the time, the time that I was there, one of the powerhouses in the Northwest, if not the powerhouse. And every 30 to 45 days, there was a fresh promotion. There was something new. There was creating some urgency, and that was with new signage and a new promotional pack, and we were putting out new price tags, and so at some point, the same old deal loses also some of its excitement. So the idea is fresh promotions that look. I know you can probably get the mattress sale sign out of the Uline catalog on page 27 that looks like it came out from 1984. We designed these to have a fresh look, and so you can have these, put them up, run your own 30, 45 days, whatever you want to do. But as long as you're rotating and doing, I mean, I know the industry's kind of moved to where like Labor Day goes on for 6 months now, which is, I'm torn on that one. I mean, I think there needs to be some, you need to develop some urgency in the promotions. And so again, create some excitement, have some fun with it. And that's kind of what that's about.
Awesome. Is that live now?
Pretty close. So these two projects are going hand in hand. Pretty much somebody can reach out to me and we can make it happen. Yeah, it's that close. But yeah, I don't have the function to buy on the website and stuff yet. So it's we're getting close. But
So I cannot believe this felt like 5 minutes, and like I have 100 more questions, but I have to say goodbye. Mike, somebody that watched this and they didn't know who you are, they want to get in touch with you. How do they reach out to you, Mike?
You can Mike at salterhome.com, or salterhome.com, or saltersleepsolutions.com. It all kind of goes to the same website. And then 360-904-8351. Feel free to give me a call. There
Awesome.
it is.
Mike, thanks for coming on the show, and
Thank you, Pete.
congratulations on your first book. I am so excited to see this. And guys and gals out there, you know, you guys who are students of this industry, jump in, grab Mike's book and start implementing, because this is the year 2025.
Let's do it.
The
Let's do it.
election is in the rear view mirrors, whether your guy won or lost, doesn't matter. Here we are, 2025, clean slate. Let's get after this thing. It's not going to be easy sledding at the beginning of the year, but that doesn't change a thing, man. Just get out there, block, tackle, do the basics well and better than your competition, and you're going to win. So, Mike, thanks a million. And everybody else
Thank
out
you,
there,
Pete.
have fun and sell a million.